Peggle. Hello and welcome to another episode of Ferret 64 with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferret 64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, reviews, and so much more. I hope you all had a great week or weekend or whatever day you're listening to this. I hope you're having a good one. I was sick for the past couple days and I'm still feeling a bit of those effects. So I am planning on making this, I know I say this a lot, I plan on making this one a little bit shorter simply to not overwhelm myself because I had a pretty bad sore throat the past couple days. But I don't really feel it now, but yeah, I mean, with talking, I could possibly irritate it. So I'm going to make this, I'm going to try and make this episode as short as I can. And we're going to start this one off with what's in the news. First up, last week, the same day that I uploaded the last week's podcast, Game Freak was hacked. It was a massive hack. A lot of data was breached and put onto the internet. I'm not going to sit here and go through everything that was released because I know there's a lot of people who don't want to hear about that stuff. They don't want to hear about the leaks and blah, blah, blah. Just know that there was a lot of information about Pokemon that was put out there. Specifically the next game, some Pokemon designs. The name, the code name for apparently for the next Switch system was also leaked as well. Once again, if you don't want to hear about that stuff, I'm not going to go into specifics. What I will say, though, is that a lot of the leaks that happened were weird. This wasn't like a normal leak of information. This was like some really weird personal stuff that was on these people's computers. So essentially, there was like fan fiction-esque things with a couple Pokemon. One of them being Typhlosion, which I'm not going to go into specifics, but it was. I mean, there's a reason they're called Game Freak. I know that's a pretty common joke at this point, but it was a bit freaky. There was a couple other ones as well. A lot of people are saying, well, it kind of goes along with some of this Japanese lore, some of this Japanese, tall tales or whatever. But still, it's like these are Pokemon. This is created for children, and you have these people working on this game that are doing they're typing all this freaky stuff. They're typing all these freaky fantasies up in their private time, or maybe not. I mean, if it's on their work computer, then obviously it's not during their private time. Then, still, anyway, the leak was massive. I don't know how this is going to affect Game Freak as a whole or their relationship with Nintendo, but just know that this breach of data was massive. I mean, there was source code leaked, there were code names leaked, there were Gen 10 Pokemon leaked, whatever the newest generation is going to be. Like I said before, there was a ton of like freaky stuff released as well in people's private documents. There was also like the one thing I want to mention specifically is there was what was it? There was like a like artwork for like some new characters for the game, and one of them was labeled as like sexy pilot girl or something like that, which I just thought was a bit funny. But yeah, once again, I'm not going to go deep into this. If you want to check this stuff out, if you want to see what it all says, what it all entails, there's plenty of Twitter threads out there that you can look into. I don't know if Nintendo has been taking down like DMCAing any of these Twitter threads or YouTube videos that are out there. So I'm not sure what they're doing with that. I haven't heard anything about them taking down or copywriting, striking anything. But I guess at this point, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm sure there's still places you can find all the leaked information if you so desire. But yeah, there was a total of 1 terabytes of data stolen, and they only revealed about 4 gigabytes. So that means that they still are probably holding for ransom a lot of the extra data. And you know, being a Nintendo subsidiary, like Game Freak is pretty much Nintendo. You would think they would have better firewalls or these measures to prevent this stuff from happening. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that it was like a email. Someone got a phishing email, and it pretty much just the virus spread onto from their computer into the system. So once again, I don't know why people in the tech industry or in the video game industry need to be told this, but if you have a suspicious link, if you get an email that looks suspicious, don't click on it. Don't open the links inside of it. Don't do anything like that. I mean, just recently, the latest scam has been you get a message from FedEx or from USPS. I'm putting quotation marks in the air, and it says like your package has been delayed. Click this link to, Bob, update your address or something like that. 100% those are fake. Don't click on them. But I'm sure there's a lot of people who see that and go, "Oh, my Amazon package that I ordered, it's late. They need my address updated or whatever." That's how they get you. Same thing with email phishing. You see like these weird email addresses that pretend that they're coming from like PayPal or pretend that they're coming from Microsoft or something like that, where everything looks official in the email itself, but the email address is like PayPal dot, bunch of random numbers at gmail.com or something that wouldn't make any sense, right? And people don't really look at that stuff because they see the email, it looks official, so they click on the link or they do whatever, right? So I think that something like that happened here, where someone got an email, they were working on it, they got an email and they clicked the link, and boom, their entire company got hacked. Now, I'm pretty sure these hacks actually happened a couple months ago, so they probably have already patched up their stuff. But this is all the stuff that was stolen, and I'm sure that the hackers were holding it ransom for an allotted amount of time, and they said that they were release data if they weren't paid or something like that. So that's obviously what happened. Is a couple months went by, because I think this happened in August, and so they released a bunch of the data that they were holding ransom. I mean, it's a little bit funny. Like the Thai explosion stuff is a little bit funny, sure, but it's also a little bit like, okay, all right. Like, I know that people are into some weird stuff. Like, I get it. I'm no stranger to weird things, but on your work computer, like with official Nintendo or Pokemon characters, I don't know, man. I don't know. But that's pretty much that. I know this is like old news at this point, so I'm not going to stay on it for too long, but I thought I might as well start off the episode with this, seeing as it was the big news from last week that didn't make it onto last week's episode. Spider-Man 2 will not be receiving any future story DLC. Insomniac is moving on from the game, and I guess they're just working on Spider-Man 3 or whatever the next game is going to be. I guess there were rumors that it was a Spider-Man Venom spinoff or something like that. That's going to be next. But they did say that they will not be having any more DLC, unlike the first Spider-Man game, which had a plethora of DLC, which was very good. It added to the story and it actually capped off the whole game very nicely. But maybe it's because they're just working on that Wolverine game, and maybe they're working on that spin-off game that they were rumored to be working on. But it is a bit weird because there's a lot of plot threads in Spider-Man 2 from like the side stories that are just going to kind of be sitting there until whenever Spider-Man 3 comes out, right? I don't want to get into specifics just in case you haven't played them, but there's a couple things in there that the side mission ends and there's like a big reveal or something like that, and it ends, right? The side mission ends, and that's it. And it says like, it's a bit anticlimactic, I would say, in a couple ways. But I guess we'll just have to wait. I was really thinking that there was going to be another like DLC, like multiple story DLC to help wrap up some of the story beats in Spider-Man 2, but I guess that's not happening, which is a bit unfortunate. But also, in the same press conference, they said that Marvel Spider-Man 2 is coming to PC in January of 2025. So if you want to check out Spider-Man 2 on the PC, that's going to be coming around in January. I'm sure that there will be plenty of mod support for it, so I'm sure the CJ from San Andreas mod is going to go crazy in this one. I believe it's going to have all of the regular stuff that is with a PC version of a game, including the ultra-wide support and stuff like that. But they didn't really go into specifics, so I guess we'll wait and see for that. But I'm guessing there's going to be ultra-wide support, 4K resolution support, etc., etc. So that's coming January 30th to the PC if you want to check that out. And I'm like I said, there's probably going to be more information when it comes closer. Astrobot's first speedrun level update is out now, adding in the building speedrun DLC, which was pretty fun. It's about a 2 GB patch. It adds in a new galaxy to the map, and you can kind of see that there's a couple of extra spots to go to on the map there. So there's definitely going to be at least like 8 of them, I feel like, depending on the... Actually, no, here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's going to be 5 of them. Next up is on October 24th, which is coming out soon, which is the Let It Slide speedrun. October 31st is Spring Loaded Run. November 7th is Helium Heights Run. And Rising Heat is coming November 14th, which is the final of the... I guess the first speedrunning pack. Maybe they'll add more later on. So this first speedrun is pretty fun. I was having a lot of fun with it. It's got you utilize the rocket dog to get through it, which of course was a lot of fun in the main game. It's pretty much like a bite-sized, like the best of that kind of like leveled type, right? So you're going across like construction building gear and rafters and girders and stuff like that, and you're breaking through boxes and jumping off of springboards and sliding down slides to race to the end. My best time was 31 seconds and 166 milliseconds, I think, which I thought was pretty good. But there's people out there who are getting like 27 seconds and 900 milliseconds or something like that. There's always people who are going to be better at these kind of things. But pretty crazy what people are able to do with this. But I thought, I got that 31 point whatever, and I was satisfied with that. And I'm going to wait for the next one to come up. In this level, you can get the Helldiver and the guy from Rise of Ronin. So the cool thing is in order to get both the characters, you need to beat like the times for like a normal run and a fast run. So there's like a blue bird that flies along with you, and you can pass it up, of course, and get to the end. And there's also a red bird that flies on the other side, and that's like the faster time. And I think that faster time is not really too fast, because I was able to beat it my first try, even going through a bit awkwardly because I wasn't really sure of the level. So it's not super difficult to beat the speed run like birds, but it is fun to try and get your best speed run time. So once the next one comes out, we'll report back and we'll get back to it. Don't Nod. This is the studio behind games like Just Stand and Banishers, and the new there's that new game coming out, Lost Records Bloom and Rage. They have been in some financial troubles, I suppose, and they're going through some layoffs and canceled projects here. So CEO Oscar Gullibert said, "Our half-year result for 2024 reflect the economic underperformance of our latest releases, despite solid ratings on Metacritic, as well as the accounting impact of decisions we had to take." So yeah, I guess this stuff is causing them to have to reorganize the company and cancel 2 of the 7 projects that they are working on right now. Um, the company has about 320 employees, and there's going to be a reduction of 69 jobs, which is a very odd number, but I guess that's how many they need to cut. They also blamed the underperformance of Just Ant and Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden, which is kind of crazy. I wasn't like expecting these games to fly off the shelves, right? But Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden was a very good game. I think maybe the marketing push wasn't hard enough. I think that a lot of people were interested in Banishers, but much like myself, they wanted to wait for like a sale or something like that to pick it up, because even though it looked really good, I was kind of iffy on it. Like, what is this game fully about? Like, what really is this game? And it ended up being a very good game. Like, don't get me wrong, but there's always like when the reveal trailers they kind of scratch the surface, right? They don't go too far into it. That's when you kind of like, okay, maybe I should wait for like a sale or something like that so I don't like waste $40 on a game that I might not like. As for Just Ant, I thought that Just Ant was kind of lame in my opinion. Like, it was a short little climbing game. It didn't really do much in my opinion. But also, it released on Xbox Game Pass. And with Xbox Game Pass releases, of course, it's not going to sell as well because it's on Xbox Game Pass. So, I mean, what are you going to do there, right? You got your money for putting on Xbox Game Pass. That should have covered the loss of sales. But apparently, maybe they didn't sign a good enough contract. I don't know. This all leads me into the... Okay, this is French, so please bear with me. There's a French union called Les Syndicats des Travailleurs et Travailleuses des Jeux Vidéo, or the STJV for short. And this is a union inside of France that is fighting back against Ubisoft. And now, after these layoffs have been announced for Don't Nod, they are targeting Don't Nod, of course. So in a statement, they said, "We warned them long ago and they ignored us and accused us of being too aggressive to speak with. With this layoff plan, they are creating an atmosphere of extreme violence. We are calling on all workers at Don't Nod to mobilize to save their jobs and working conditions." I don't know about extreme violence. Maybe it's just a misinterpretation of the words or whatever, but this union definitely seems to be the most aggressive union we've ever seen. Like, if they're essentially striking in front of Ubisoft right now. They are on the news condemning these work practices. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not Nostradamus. I can't predict what's going to happen. But if they really are like a union that is this, I don't want to say crazy. I don't want to say crazy, but this passionate about the workforce in France, I could definitely see them mobilizing the people who are going to lose their jobs and striking in front of Don't Nod, as well as Ubisoft. So if they're willing to take on Ubisoft, which is like AA, AAA kind of studio, I'm sure that Don't Nod, which is more of like a AA studio, would be on their radar as well. So we'll see what happens in the near future, and I will keep you all updated. Sega is going to open up its own store, retail store, kind of like how there's Nintendo stores. And the first one is in Tokyo, of course. Speaking to the media, the Sega transmedia boss, Justin Scarpone, stated that the store will open in Shibuya's Parco Department Complex. He has a target of summer 2025, but of course that could be later in the year. He stated, if you go to retail today, you don't see Sega enough. For example, we're opening a Sega store next year in summer in Tokyo's Parco. There will be a Sega store there. We're also going to be doing a similar project in Shanghai, where we'll have a store there as well via a partner. it's really exciting that we need to do a lot more of that because Sega is a consumer brand that is surprisingly not in front of customers enough. Sonic is, but Sega isn't. That's one of the 35 things I'm working on right now. So I guess a little bit of competition in the video game retail market is always appreciated, I suppose. I feel like Sega is... Well, I guess he's right. Sonic is bigger than Sega, I would say. You see Sonic and you don't immediately go, oh, that's a Sega guy. I mean, it's just like, it's Sonic. He's from Sonic the Hedgehog, you know? So, yeah, I guess... you know, that's one of the things that they're working on, along with bringing back a lot of their older IPs, you know. So, yeah, we'll see what that looks like when they eventually open it up sometime next year. All right, let's go ahead and move on to what was announced at that game showcase. All right, so Xbox had a partner preview showcase this past week on Thursday, and there were a couple of announcements that I thought were big enough to talk about. So they showed off Alan Wake's The Lake House DLC. It's expansion coming to Alan Wake 2, and this is coming out October 22nd to Xbox and PC. I believe it's also coming to PlayStation as well. The Lake House is a mysterious facility set up on the shores of Cauldron Lake by the Federal Bureau of Control to conduct secret research until something goes wrong. Explore the twisted sub-level of Lake House as you descend into a harrowing survival horror experience where the realities of the Pacific Northwest and the Dark Place collide once again. As Agent Estevez, you'll explore the twisted halls of the multi-storied Lake House and unravel the dark secrets hidden within. So this is the second DLC pack for Alan Wake 2. So looks like it's going to be kind of a nice expansion going on there. And I guess we'll see. We'll wait to hear more about that. Once again, that is coming October 22nd. A game called Blind Fire opened up in early access today on PC and Xbox. Blind Fire is a first-person arena shooter where the game is much like like the title says, blind. It's darkness. The entire area is darkness except for neon lights and neon paint on the wall, right? And it looks like it's a first-person shooter where you pretty much just use pistols. They didn't show any other weapons in the trailer, but I can maybe guess it's maybe it's set up like CS:GO or Friends versus Friends, where you buy better weapons as you go from round to round. It's hard to say with a limited amount of info I have here. In the press release, they said the pitch-black battlefields of Blind Fire turn the first-person shooter genre on its head. Stalk the shadows as the tensions build. Then run for cover as shots start flying in a volley of muzzle flashes. Think you got what it takes to eliminate the competition in Blind Fire? Then grab your weapon and light them up. So this is going to be available for about $9 on the Xbox Store. I'm pretty sure it's also on PC. I'm not sure if it's on like Epic Store or Steam or something like that. I didn't see it on Steam, although maybe it's not like a best-selling. Maybe it is on Steam, but it's not best-selling. But if you want to check that out, it looks kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of unique in that way where it's like a pitch blackish arena with the only lights being like the neon paint and neon suits of the characters. So could be a bit of an interesting twist, I suppose. Check that out if you want to. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii got a new release date, moving themselves away from the early slate of February, which is very packed, to February 28th, 2025. Xbox, PC, PlayStation, etc. The game looks pretty wacky, as you may or may not know. I mean, it's a Yakuza game, a Like a Dragon game. These are pretty wacky games. It's a bit of an odd one because like you're on this pirate ship, but you're also fighting people in like normal clothes and stuff like that. So it's probably set up like the other Like a Dragon games where when you enter combat, you turn into the pirate of Yakuza, kind of thing. But that's coming February 28th. Chronos: The New Dawn is a horror game from Bloober Team. So Bloober Team just got done with their Silent Hill 2 remake. And I guess Chronos: A New Dawn was something they were working on in the background. It's a horror game, of course, and it looks pretty good. It's got like a sci-fi spin to it. Anti-gravity everywhere. Your main character looks to be in some sort of like space suit or something like that. It's hard to really say because they didn't show off a lot of the game, but it looks kind of cool. And if you want to check out the trailer for that, you can check out Xbox YouTube channel. In the press release, they said Chronos: The New Dawn is a pulse-pounding third-person survival horror game that throws you into the heart of a deadly struggle against overwhelming foes, all while uncovering the mysteries of a twisted time travel story. In the past, you will witness a world of Thrios of the Change, a cataclysmic event that forever altered humanity. Meanwhile, in the ravaged wastelands of the future, every moment is a fight for survival against dangerous abominations that will test your reflexes and your tactical thinking. Right now, they have it set for a 2025 release if you want to check that out. Mouse PI for Hire is officially coming to Xbox and, of course, PC. We already knew that, though, but it is officially coming to Xbox. If you don't know what this is, it's like a Doom slash old-timey kind of Cuphead style shoot 'em up, boomer shooter, I guess you could say. And this was revealed a couple of years ago. I was very interested in it. I'm still very interested in it, and it is coming in 2025 still. It looks very fun. Looks a lot like very, very cute too as well. Like, even though it's people being shot to death, it does look pretty cute with the art style and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to check this out. I cannot wait for that to come out in 2025. Also, Animal Well was confirmed to be coming on Xbox, and it actually had a shadow drop the same day. Animal Well, which is to a lot of people, a Game of the Year contender, which came out earlier this year, has finally gotten an Xbox release. So now everyone can check it out. So if you want to check this out, it is available on Xbox right now. The less you know about it, the better going into it. Just know that it is a bit of a Metroidvania, and it's very good. So there you go. A game called Eden's Zero was shown off as well. This is like an anime game. Yep, it's an anime game. It's a JRPG, Eden's Zero, coming in 2025. It's a fantasy opus from Hiro Mashima. Take off to the stars and adventure. Based off the hit manga, Eden's Zero. All right, there you go. Mistfall Hunter was also revealed at the showcase. This kind of reminds me of Elden Ring a little bit, especially with some of the visuals in there, like the glowing light and stuff like that. This is a third-person PvPvE extraction RPG in a mysterious Nordic-inspired continent filled with creatures, loot, and those seeking glory. So it's a bit of a weird one. That's a bit of a weird description. But hey, maybe it'll be kind of interesting. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. This is coming in 2025 as well to Xbox and PC. Phasmophobia finally has a new release date for consoles. I know this is during the Xbox event, but it was also revealed for PlayStation as well at the same time. After a bunch of delays and a fire and whatever, the game is now coming to consoles on October 29th, 2024. And it'll be available for $20 on the service. If you don't know what Phasmophobia is, it's a 4-player online co-op psychological horror game where you hunt down ghosts, demons, and spooky things, paranormal activity style. So if you want to check that out, that'll be available soon, October 29th. Another game called The Legend of Babbo was announced. This is a game where you play as both a young boy with a spear and his dog, Babbo. And it looks like it's an action platformer, third-person action adventure kind of game. You take a journey through the magical lands to rescue their family from a dark and ancient evil. So, I mean, it looks kind of interesting. Coming 2025. Babbo is a cute dog, I guess. Not much else to say about it. And then Eternal Strands. This is a magic game, I guess you could say. You can throw people, you can cast magic, you can put like stuff on your sword and stuff like that. Kind of reminded me a bit of like just from the trailer itself. It kind of reminded me of Monster Hunter or something like that. But this is a magic game where you combine various different magics to take down massive 25-meter foes in a new fantasy action RPG game, Eternal Strands, coming sometime in 2025. FBC Firebreak was also revealed. This is a 3-player cooperative first-person shooter within the Federal Bureau of Control. So this is coming from Remedy Studios, and it's, I guess, a spin-off of their main stuff, because this is completely different than anything that you might have seen from Control or Alan Wake. Being a first-person multiplayer co-op shooter, kind of game, it definitely has like the same style of like a goofy Team Fortress or something like that. The weapons are very goofy, very kind of put together, I guess you could say. This was just revealed, so there's no release date yet, but it is coming sometime soon to Game Pass and PC. So I guess it's kind of fun that it's coming to Game Pass. I don't know how much I would play of this, because it does look like a very strange game. It's got to be a bit of a different art style. It's obviously got a whole different gameplay style. So, I mean, I don't want to judge it before it comes out. So we'll see how it goes before it releases. One of the biggest reveals was Subnautica 2, which was revealed. It's coming to early access in 2025. But it's essentially what you expect. It's Subnautica. You play as someone who is lost in the deep ocean, and all that's around you is ocean, and you need to craft and work your way through the expanse. And it looks like there's going to be larger than life creatures in this one, much more mystery, I suppose. And like I said, that's coming sometime in 2025. And then another game called Wheel World is coming out as well. It's a biking game where you can customize your bike, explore, and race to save the world. I mean, it's got a that kind of weird art style that a few other games have as well. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that Hellboy game that came out last year, the Web of Weird or something like that. I should know. I really enjoyed that one, even though a lot of people didn't. But Wheel World, this is coming in 2025. And then finally, a game called Wu Chang Fallen Feathers was also revealed. It's a Souls-like action RPG that will push your limits off against an onslaught of mysterious creatures, unravel the secrets of your forgotten past, and land in the land of Shu before you are consumed by the feathering disease. It looks fine. It looks like a Souls-like game. We just got Black Myth Wukong, and I feel like this is very similar in a lot of ways to that. But the game does have a bit of a different aesthetic, a bit of a different character. Looks like she can use a couple of different techniques, maybe some magic in there as well, or something like that. So there you go. All in all, it was a decent showcase. I'm not gonna give it a rating, but it was fine. The watch was pleasant, and it wasn't bogged down by a million anime games. So that's always nice. All right, let's move on to what's coming soon. Okay, Analog, the creator of plenty of emulation devices like the Analog Pocket and other things in that genre, is introducing a console for the first. I think this is like their first console. Essentially, it's called the Analog 3D, which is a reimagining of the N64. Now, in all their marketing, they are not holding back from comparing it to the N64 or calling it an N64 emulator. So I don't know what kind of legal trouble they could get into, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be able to have 4K resolution for your N64 games. The Analog 3D is the world's first 100% compatible with every original N64 game ever made. It's region-free, Bluetooth LE enabled, dual-band Wi-Fi enabled, 4 original-style controller ports, entirely new next-generation analog hardware featuring 3D OS, 3D operating system. Engineered entirely in FPGA, no emulation. I'm sorry, I was calling it an emulation device. It is not an emulation device. It is a fully built hardware compatible with N64 cartridges. This will be available for pre-order tomorrow, October 31st, 21st, the day that I'm recording this, 8 a.m. Pacific time. It'll go on sale. So the Analog 3D doesn't mess around. N64, perfect in every way with FGPA, no emulation, just pure multiplayer magic. They are releasing a controller alongside the device as well. That it looks like a regular controller, except it has the face buttons of the N64 controller. So the C pad is off on the right side with A and B next to it. The shoulder buttons look about the same, and I'm sure that one of the shoulder buttons will be like the Z button as well. So that's that. Also, the game will be able to take the games and upgrade them to 4K, which, I mean, I don't know if that's going to look great, but hopefully you'll be able to like turn it down if you don't want that. There's also apparently going to be an N64 style controller released alongside it as well. Doesn't have any branding or anything like that on it, but it is very similar to the N64 controller. The controller is being made by 8-Bit Duo, which they're pretty good at making controllers. So what is the 3D OS? It's not just an operating system. It's a meditation. It's a meditation on the N64, sharpened and refined for today. Every detail, every moment brought into vivid focus. 3D OS takes the essence of N64 and brings it to the present, sharper and more precise than ever. I'm still not really sure what that's all about. Let's see. It's the ultimate way to play the N64. Every feature you could ever want, built in for those who know that details matter. No gimmicks, making the best experience ever. So yeah, if you are interested in this, it is available to pre-order tomorrow on the 21st. I'm sure it's going to be a bit pricey. As most of their stuff is. Yes, it's going to be about $250 for this device, if you want to check that out. I believe it's coming in a black and cream color as well, cream and black kind of colors. I'm sure there'll be various bundle packages for it. But you do need to have your own games. So if you don't have your N64 games, well, what you going to do? Here's some specs. Here. Compatibility with original N64 games. Original controllers and accessories also work as well. Region free, as I already said. It has NTC, SC, and PAL support. Lag-free, zero signal degradation. Original display modes are available like CRT and PVM. A variable refresh rate as well. The 8-bit Duo controller will be sold for $40 separately, not included with the Analog 3D. The Analog 3D controller will be compatible with the Switch, Windows, and Android as well. Built-in expansion pack, built-in memory pack, dual-band Wi-Fi, and wireless 3D. Bluetooth Classic and LE, 4-player support, 4-player controller ports, 2 USB-A ports for charging, and wired support. An SD slot, including a 16GB SD card. USB-C power input. Yeah, so there's going to be a couple people who are interested in this, I'm sure. Me personally, I have my N64. I don't think I really need this, but yeah, what are you going to do? Kind of cool. All right, Black Ops 6 is coming out October 25th, and Xbox has actually removed the $1 Game Pass trial for its launch. Not really surprising, but for the people who are trying to get a steal for Call of Duty by just paying $1 for the 14-day trial, you won't be able to do that anymore. The subscription has been suspended for the next 14 days, I guess, for when the game comes out and past the release date of the game. Obviously, Microsoft wants to try and get back all its money from the production of Black Ops 6 and the sale, the purchase of Activision, of course. So they're taking away the $1 Game Pass subscription tier, which is like a month-long trial. So now instead of there being the trial mode, there's just the 3 basic tiers on Xbox with the 4th one for PC. And yeah, I'm sure this. I mean, look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Xbox is just shooting themselves in the foot by putting this game onto the Xbox Game Pass. It's nice, and I'm definitely going to utilize that for sure. But when you're removing a large chunk of purchases from your bank, essentially, there's no way this game is going to get back the money that they put into it, or at least put into buying Activision. If you're gonna put Activision games on Xbox Game Pass, you're gonna sell them for full price on other consoles, but you're gonna sell them for no extra cost with the premium tier of Xbox Game Pass. You're just setting yourself up for disappointment when the game only sells like 1 million units, and everyone's playing it on Xbox Game Pass. So just be ready for the articles coming out in like the coming fiscal year where it's like, oh, Black Ops 6 performed lower than expectations. No shit. Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's move on. Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days Collection finally has a release date. It is launching on the 27th of February, 2025. The collection also showed they also showed off everything that's going to be included in the collection so far. So that means that they might be adding even more games to the collection, which would be crazy. So far we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters from 1998 on the Game Boy, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 2 Dark Duel Stories from 1999, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Duel Stories from the Game Boy Color in 2000, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 4 Battle of the Great Duelists from 2000, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters 6 Expert 2 from 2001, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Eternal Duelist Soul from 2002, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Sacred Cards from 2002, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Reshef of Destruction from 2003. I was a Game Boy Color kid, and I played Dark Duel Stories. I'm pretty sure I played Dark Duel Stories. I played one of these Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, you're paying full price for all the games to play one game. Yes, that is how much I miss the old school Yu-Gi-Oh! And even if these other games aren't as good as the one that I played back in the day, I will still have fun with that game that I did play. I miss the old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, they put out those retro packs. They were so much fun. Same thing with like Speed Duels, really brought back the old school style of Yu-Gi-Oh! And yet the new stuff just isn't as fun with the XYZ summonings and stuff like that. And the new, like, I just feel like rebooting and going back to basics for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the right way to go, because I think it's just gotten too complicated at this point. I've watched videos of people like winning tournaments on their first turn because they have these like setups, and it's just so crazy. I can't keep up with it. So going back to the old school stuff is what I want, and that's what we're getting with this collection. I hope a lot of people buy this who are fans of the old school Yu-Gi-Oh! So that they can see like, hey, there's still an audience for this. Obviously, I'm not telling you to go out and buy it if you don't like Yu-Gi-Oh! That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun collection, a fun blast from the past. I mean, these are games that you never thought you would see again, being Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. So it's pretty cool to see these being released on a modern platform. It's coming out next year on February 27th. The Pokemon trading card game Pocket is still set to release on the 30th of October on Android and iOS, and they surpassed 6 million pre-registrations for the game. On their Twitter account, they said, "What a milestone. Launch day about to go wild. Thank you to everyone for helping us achieve this. If you still need to register, head over to your mobile app store via the link below and do so. The Pokemon TCG Pocket release draws near." So I know that this is a big money sink for because essentially it's pretty much opening digital packs that have no value to them at all post opening them. But it does look kind of cool. I mean, the animations are slick. The new cards are kind of fun. But I do know that like if you are a fan of Pokemon and you get sucked into this game, I think you're going to be paying a lot of money to get like just packs upon packs of stuff. But you probably also don't have to spend a single dollar if you want to. I'm sure that's a way to play the game too. All right, Tron Catalyst was announced. It is an isometric action-adventure game set in the video game world of Tron. So this is much different from the game that came out, what was it, last year? I forget what it was called, Tron Legacy or something like that. But essentially it's a top-down action kind of game where you like throw your disc around and hit people with your disc. And then also I'm sure that the classic like Tron bike stuff will be back as well. But this is coming in 2025 across pretty much all platforms: Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. You'll play as Exo, a program who can control a mysterious power called the Glitch. In addition to telling an original narrative, Catalyst has you engaging in kinetic-looking combat with your identity disc and riding around on the iconic light cycles. This game is coming from Bithell Games, who also worked on Thomas Was Alone, Volume, The Solitaire Conspiracy, John Wick Hex, and Tron Identity. So they did work on the other Tron game. So yeah, if you want to check that out, it's coming sometime next year. Trailer is on Big Fan Games YouTube channel. Okay, Nintendo has expanded its online N64 library with Banjo-Tooie, which is going to be re-released on October 25th. If you want to go around in the Bird and Bears second outing, Banjo-Tooie is coming to Nintendo 64 Switch Online Expansion Pass service. The Bear and Bird duo Banjo-Kazooie return. Magical minigames, perplexing puzzles, and freaky foes await them in the stage ahead, through ancient ruins, underwater realms, and even an amusement park of sorts. So if you want to check this game out, it's coming October 25th. I would highly recommend playing the original game before playing Banjo-Tooie, because Banjo-Tooie is definitely a bit of a step in a different direction for the series, that's for sure. I don't personally like Banjo-Tooie, but Banjo-Kazooie is like my favorite game of all time. So it's a bit of like a weird thing for me because I try to play Banjo-Tooie several times and I just don't like it. But then I go back to Banjo-Kazooie and I 100% it every single time that I go and play it. I don't know where the disconnect is. Maybe if I try and pick it up again with this Nintendo Switch Online version, I will maybe enjoy it. I don't know. But it is nice for people who want to play through the series. Banjo-Kazooie obviously is a bit of a, I want to say niche fan base at this point, even though they've been releasing the games as such. It's nice. But Xbox doesn't seem to be too amped up to release a new Banjo-Kazooie game anytime soon. But also, I've also been seeing people being like Banjo-Kazooie doesn't deserve to be really released, stuff like that. And it's like, does this series really need hate? I know Banjo-Tooie is not my favorite game ever. I don't really like that game, but I do like seeing it and having it readily available for people to play. So anyone who's out there going, oh, the Banjo-Kazooie, do we really need Banjo-Kazooie to come back? It's blah blah blah. I don't care. There's plenty of games that I could probably say, oh, I don't care. Does Final Fantasy VII really need a remake? I could say something like that, and I could piss off a bunch of people. But because the Banjo-Kazooie fandom is so small, people feel like they can beat up on us. Not really that great of a feeling. I'll tell you that much. I love Banjo-Kazooie, but I don't love all their games. But I will say that the original Banjo-Kazooie has kept being my favorite game of all time since I originally played it back on the N64. So, get fucked. All right, here's the 18 games leaving PlayStation Plus Premium and extra tiers next month. So on the November 18th, GTA San Andreas Definitive Edition, Red Dead Redemption 2, The Sims 4 City Living, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost On, Superliminal, Yuden Chronicles Rising, Klonoa Fantasy Reviere Series, Teardown, Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 Remix, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, Chorus, What Remains of Edith Finch, Overcooked 2, Blasphemous, and Moving Out are all leaving the service on the 18th of November. The games I think you should play before they leave: Red Dead Redemption 2, Superliminal, Teardown, Chorus, What Remains of Edith Finch, Overcooked 2, Blasphemous, and Moving Out are all great games. Klonoa Fantasy Riviera is a great remaster. If you are thinking of playing any of the Kingdom Hearts games, probably be a good idea to try one out before they leave. I don't think you'll be able to get through all of them before they're gone, unless you're only playing video games for 24 hours a day. But yeah, I think those are the games that you should try out before they leave. Okay, let's quickly head over to what have I been playing this past week. I'm starting to lose steam here, folks. Let's quickly talk about Mario Party Jamboree. As I mentioned last week, I'm not going to be showing off all the games that I got the past week. Every single episode, I'm going to do that at the end of the month or beginning of the next month, depending on when the Saturday or Sunday kind of fits. So don't worry, it's not gone, but it will be back at the end of the month. So Super Mario Party Jamboree has been a pretty fun time. I think that they really did a great job with the presentation of the game. They remixed how the game kind of works and looks a lot of the time. So instead of like you land on like a lucky space and it gives you a random thing of stuff that you can do, like get coins and items and stuff like that. Instead of it being like a flat presentation and kind of just going through it, it's at an angle. It's kind of like catty cornered, and your character's sitting there, and they kind of do their thing. I think that's really nice presentation. Also, the dice block roll, they've tweaked it a little bit too, especially on the level with or the board that has like the race cars. You can now like rev your engine and make the dice roll faster. I think that's pretty fun. Like I said, the presentation has really been overhauled to the max. Like everything from the main area that you are running around in to the maps themselves, they really have a nice presentation to them. Being a Mario Party game, obviously it's going to be better with friends. So if you don't have a full group of people to play with, they've given you the option to go online and search for people online to play with, which is really nice. And you don't have to have voice chat on or anything like that. You can just use the little emotes at the bottom of that the game gives you, and you can play with other people, which does add to it. Like Mario Party is best played with a full group of people, or maybe a couple of friends with you. And of course, it's always going to be better to play with them in the same room. But I will say that playing solo is not going to be as fun as playing with other people. Like even if you put the computer characters up to the maximum level that you can, it's going to be the most fun to play with other people, having them just palling around with your friends or something like that. Even if you're in an online lobby, it can be kind of fun at times. The games themselves, like the mini games themselves, are pretty well done. There's not too many that I don't like so far. Most of them have been pretty fun. There's this one where you take your Switch controller and you like do like this weird motion that looks like you're paddling, and I hate that one so much. It's so annoying. It doesn't seem to work that well either. But most of the other like motion controlled ones are fine. The one thing that I don't like about the game is in the older Mario parties, before, like, if you had a mini game that you hadn't played yet, it would be in question marks, and it would be kind of like a mystery, like, ooh, what's this game they're gonna play? It's all in question marks. They don't have that anymore. I don't think they've done that since the move over to like the Wii U, I think. But I was really hoping that they would bring that back for this game, because it's a fresh. It has all new, not all new, but it has mostly new mini games, and it's got all this fun stuff going on. I was really hoping that they would bring back like the mystery of it, like, oh, which mini game am I getting? No, they didn't, which is fine. I'm not like super pissed about that, but it's just something that I kind of miss from the old school days. The new partner stuff is new. It does not work like Super Mario Party. They retooled it and I think they made it better. So not only do the partners randomly appear during a match, but everyone has a chance to get the partner. So someone drives up next to them or goes next to them, and you go through a series of mini games to determine who earns the partner, and the partner only stays with you for 3 to 4 turns maximum. But also, if someone passes you on the board, the partner will follow them. So it's kind of a cool little new little strategy type thing going on. And partners, like I said, they only stay around for 3 to 4 turns, so they're kind of like OP dice blocks and stuff like that. Don't stick around for that long. and I think that's a really good idea. It's a very nice idea for the games. Instead of having all these different characters on the board like in Super Mario Party, now there's only one on the board at a time, and everyone has a chance to earn them. And you can also steal them from other people as you pass them on the board. I think that's a really good idea. The game looks pretty good. It looks about as good as Super Mario Party Superstars or whatever the last one was called. Mario Party Superstars? Yeah. There's more characters to choose from than I feel like ever before at this point, with the inclusion of, Paulina and lots of returning characters as well, like Goomba, and obviously the main Mario cast is there as well. Bowser's available to be played as. Kamek makes an imitation Bowser to mess around with you, so it's not. You can actually choose to play as Bowser if you want to in this one. There's a lot of side modes as well, which I don't personally think they really need that many side modes. Like, they're fun, don't get me wrong, like the rhythm-based mini games and stuff like that. But I feel like they needed to maybe take some of that time spent working on those things and just kind of put more effort into the Mario Party stuff, because where I am right now is like, yeah, Mario Party is great. I'm enjoying it, but it didn't go above and beyond what I was expecting. Like, I was expecting this to be the best Mario Party game I ever played, but I don't feel like it gets past some of those old school Mario Parties still. Like, even though it's better than Super Mario Party, is it better than Mario Party Superstars? Maybe it's about on the same level, but it's definitely not better in my opinion. So I was a little bit disappointed in that way, but it's still a lot of fun. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I still have a lot of fun with it. I think it's a good time. I just it's just kind of missing like that extra oomph to get it over the top of like the normal. Like, you have your regular Mario Party experience, and then you have like the good Mario Party experiences, and like this one's like kind of teetering out just above that, right? Just above that, kind of like where Superstars was as well. So that's all I gotta say about that for now. Let's move on to Space Marine 2, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Greedy Waffles and I finished it this past week. To say I'm a bit disappointed is a bit of an understatement. I gave it a 3 out of 5 in the end. I think it's a pretty generic third-person shooter. It takes a lot of inspiration from other games, especially World War Z and Gears of War, which is not a wholly bad thing, but it also doesn't make the experience very unique. I felt like the level design was very boring. There wasn't really anything new going on as you went through the game. Sure, you had a couple of jetpack sections or maybe a new enemy here or there, but for the most part, it was very much like your basic run and gun kind of affair where you're either holding out against a group of enemies or you're going through corridors fighting enemies. And I just needed to do a little bit more. The boss fights were not great. They were just the same, copy and pasted across the game. It just wasn't really like that great in my opinion. And like, sure, the graphics look great, and the sound design is good, and the game's mechanics are fine, but the game just doesn't do anything to really make it go above and beyond what a normal third-person shooter is. Like, I almost would rather play the original Warhammer 40k Space Marine game over this one at this point, just because that one just felt like it had a few more ideas going on than this game, and at least it was fresh in that game when they used jetpacks or when they used the whatever, right? I also don't think it's as fun to fight the alien-esque hordes or the chaos hordes. I just don't think it's as fun as the orcs. I feel like the orcs just like you peak at like killing orcs, The story itself is not great either. Like, it's just kind of serviceable. So all in all, I gave it that 3 out of 5. I was a bit disappointed. I was going into it with very high expectations, especially because there were a lot of people out there who were like, "This is the game of the year. This is it right here. Space Marine 2, game of the year." I can't agree with that at all. I just wish it was more original. I wish it was more original, and I wish that it didn't. I wish that it did do more. I just wish I did more with like the game and the mechanics and stuff like that, because as it is, it's like, yeah, for a third-person shooter it's fine, but it doesn't go the extra mile to bring it above anything than serviceable. Some other games that I played this past week, Mr. Mosquito. I played the PlayStation Classic version of it, which just by the way, they only have Dino Crisis on the PlayStation Plus subscription service, which is really annoying. You can't buy it individually, so that's stupid. But anyway, Mr. Mosquito, I played this game. It's a very bizarre game. It controls very weirdly. I did not like it. I was going into it like being like, oh, I can't wait to try this game out of here. It's weird and wacky, and I think I played a demo of it back in the day on the PS2. I was not expecting this game to be as weird and wild as it is. It starts off kind of perverted in a lot of ways. There is this young girl who is definitely like 14 or 15 that you're like she's in like there's like it's a very famous scene, the bathtub scene, and she's sitting there and like she has like giant breasts, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And you like you as Mr. Mosquito, you like attached to her tits, and it's like, what the fuck? And then the ending cutscene is like she gets out of the shower, an underage girl getting out of the bathtub, and the little mosquito guy is like staring up at her. It's just very weird, and it kind of continues on from there in the pervertedness, where there's another girl who comes to the house, and she's also very much underaged, but she has like this massive rack, and she's very like every time you latch onto her with the mosquito, she makes like a very sexual noise, and eventually she gets down on her hands and knees, and she's like crawling around in this very sexual position, and you're like, it gives me a bit of the ick, okay? I did not feel good while playing this game. It was very icky in a lot of ways. It was very perverted. Then, after the dust settled, you go into like the last like 5 levels of the game are like these massive, like the humans are like kaijus, and they have like these various attacks that they do, and they're trying to kill you with like insecticide and these like hot plates and bug traps, and they're like doing all these crazy like moves and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, it's heating up now. I'm enjoying this. But at the end of the day, just that first half, more than half of the game, just made me feel weird while playing, and I didn't like it at all. And with the control scheme also being very strange, like you tap R1 to go faster, and you tap L2 to go slower, and then like you press O to like latch on to someone in a specific spot, and the suck blood, you turn the joystick to the there's like this little meter that goes up and down. You gotta turn the joystick to how it goes. Every time you latch onto a person, they make like a sexual noise. It's very weird. And then also sometimes you can get into fights with them, and in order to calm them down, you hit them in various spots to make them relax. And once again, on the underage girl, the spot to relax was right on her fucking, like, it was right on her fucking genitalia area. It's like, come on. It was very weird. It was very weird. It was perverse. I did not like it. I gave it a 2 out of 5. The 2 pretty much just comes from being a unique experience, and also the ending like 3 or 4 levels were pretty fun. But other than that, it loses a lot of points from being icky, and it also loses a lot of points from just kind of the control scheme and everything also. So. Very sorry to the Mr. Mosquito fans out there. I've played it. I didn't like it. Sorry. I also played Resogun, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I feel like everyone should have played Resogun. If you had a PS4, you got it on PlayStation Plus a long time ago. If you did not get it on PlayStation Plus, it has a lot of DLC and stuff like that that's released for it that is really fun. Resogun in general, I think, is a really fun game. It's like a side-scrolling shooter, but it's like a 3D kind of thing where you go around this like circle, and the enemies kind of spawn where they need to spawn, and then sometimes you need to save like a human or something like that. They had a reference in Astrobot, which reminded me like, oh, I never finished the last level on Resogun. So I went back, loaded it up on the PS5. I replayed through the whole game on the normal mode, whatever it was called, and I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was really fun. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I think the boss designs need to leave a little bit to be desired, but the rest of the game is very fun. If you have not played Resogun, it's a total hidden gem on the PS4. Maybe not hidden gem, but it's definitely a gem on the from the PS4 era. and it's very fun to play. I really enjoyed playing it, and it does get pretty challenging as you go into those higher difficulty tiers. And you can also like design your own ship as well. Like you can design like an X-wing or the RV from Spaceballs or something like that. You can actually design them with the little building blocks that you have. Pretty cool. And you can also download other people's works too. So if you're not very creative, you can just download someone's X-wing or whatever. And then we also finished Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach on stream. I ended up giving this a generous B tier. It's closer to a C tier than an A tier, obviously, but it's like a B minus. I think that the glitches and the I think just the glitches and bugginess of the game really brings it down. But everything else is fine. Like the story's good. I think that the main like stuff that happens in the game is good. There's some sections of the game that really shine. I think the vibe is cool, like with the Chuck E. Cheese and like the 80s synthwave and blah blah blah. But I don't think the vibe really works compared to what the game's trying to be scary, but you have like like this very pristine, clean, sanitary pizza place that you're running around in, this pizza complex you're running around in, and it just kind of like offsets like how the other games feel. The other games feel dirty, unclean. They feel much more scary because there's not a lot of lights on and the cameras are all fuzzy and everything's run down and stuff like that. And then in this game, like sure the animatronics become dirty and break apart eventually, but the entire vibe of the game is still very clean and sanitary. And I know I'm saying the same thing, but it really the vibe just feels a bit off simply because it's so pristine. And what I was hoping for was, maybe the Pizzaplex will start to deteriorate as we go through the game because this kid who's looking at it with rose-colored glasses is like, oh, wow, the Pizzaplex, wow, wow, wow. But as you go through the game and things happen in the story, then it's like, oh, what I had in my mind for this place was not actually right. It's actually pretty run down. It actually is not really functioning at all the way it's supposed to be. But they didn't do that, and I feel like that would have really heightened the experience and also made it a bit more scary as you went through it. Because as it stands, there's a couple of areas in this game that are spooky, like the daycare center was a pretty intense thing where you're running around turning on the generators with the moon guy following you around. And there's another section where there was like all these like animatronics that only stop when you're looking at them, which was also kind of freaky as well. But yeah, that's the thing, like those sections are pretty unique simply because the rest of the game is very bright and it's very, it's the Pizzaplex, right? And it's not as scary to be chased around by Glamrock Chica or Roxanne Wolf or Montgomery Gator when they, when the rest of the pizza place looks like it's been functioning for the past 10 years in perfect condition, right? It's brand new. They haven't even opened the place yet, it seems like. So yeah, that's my real gripe about it. But I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5. If they fix those glitches, which I feel like they should have by now, that would be great. But at this point, don't hold your breath because you probably will choke from asphyxiation. Okay, that's about it for today, folks. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Fair 64 podcast. Really do appreciate that. Let's go ahead and listen to today's song. Guess that song. Guess if you know the name of the song and the game that it came from, let me know in the comments below or in the Discord in the Fair 64 section. Let's go ahead and listen to today's song right now. Okay, once again, if you know the name of the song and the game that came from, let me know in the comments below or in the Discord. I'll link it down below. All right, thank you so much for listening. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I am out of here. I'll talk at you next week with another episode of Fair 64. I appreciate you. So long. The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Small sound clips used throughout the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The song in the intro and outro is Nightshade by Adhesive Wombat. The Fair 64 logo was made by Player2P2. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions, video game related, are my own. Thank you for listening.